Bhagawan was dwelling on Massa Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time the Bhagawan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. The mind without obscuration and without fear, having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata gate gate para samgate polisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. I and all surrounding sentient beings go for refuge to the Buddha, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Sangha. We prostrate to the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, surrounded by all the children and by the assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. By depending on my prostrations to all of you, may these words of truth be actualized. In the past, the Deva King Indra dispelled the Maras by reflecting on the profound meaning of wisdom gone beyond, and reciting the profound words in daily recitation. In that same way, I also reflect on the profound meaning of the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, and recite the profound words in daily recitation. May all diseases, spirit possessions, bad conditions, all the negative directions, that which happens due to past karma and immediate conditions, may all this be dispelled. May it become non-existent. May it be pacified. Now go forward to page either 97 or 98, depending upon which version of the prayer book you have. You're looking for what's called the short mandala offering. We're going to recite this first verse in Tibetan, and then we'll do the second verse in English, and then the offering mantra to offer the mandala. Saji Pogi Shuching Meto Trauri Avlinchi Nite Gyanpadi Sangye Please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. We'll continue with the next verse, twice in Tibetan and then the third time in English. Sangye Chodam Soki Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dani Katsuchi Dagi Chonyangi Pesonamgi Jola Penche Sangye Drupasho Sangye Chodam Soki Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dani Katsuchi Dagi Chodyangi Pesonamgi Drola Penche Sangye Drupasho. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings.
So, good morning everyone.
Good morning.
Maybe I would like to take a few moments for us to relax and settle down our body and mind by focusing on the breath for a few moments. Then we try to generate good intention, motivation. For example, by contemplating and feeling, may these sessions, may our time here be most constructive, most helpful, beneficial for oneself and all sentient beings. May our time being here be able to help us to understand more deeply how destructive and how unhealthy the anger is, and that may we be able to decrease, reduce it, and gradually eliminate it. And may we be able to develop fully the patience, this inner quality of patience. And thereby helping oneself and all sentient beings to achieve more enlightened state. More peaceful, more compassion, more enlightening state. Kange to jeni zone, ta tumse pombe se, tambe chune te te pe, kodam te la cha cha no. So before I go to the actual verse where we left last week, again let me just summarize a little bit. We have discussed how unhealthy, how destructive, how harmful it is to generate anger and hatred and acting the angers. Generating the anger itself is very painful, destructive, unhealthy, harmful, but acting is even worse. When you act the anger, that is when you give yourself to the anger. Sometimes we can get angry, but we can make choice not to act it. So sometimes we feel if we get angry, we should act it. I think that is not true, and that we do have the time and opportunity and to make the choice whether we want to act the anger or not. When we act the anger, then it makes things, then it becomes much more worse. Then you are giving up yourself to the anger, and then that can become very habitual patterns. And once that becomes a habitual pattern, then it's difficult to stop it. So therefore, that is one thing. And we discussed how harmful it is in the sense that it destroys a lot of our good things, fortunes, virtues. It's something like you have built up over the years with a lot of hardship, your reputations, your friendship, relationship, and out of anger we destroy everything. In a second, we destroy all the hardship that we have fruit to build up all these things. That is how destructive it is. We often see that. It is very destructive. Also, in terms of that. Emotionally, mentally, very disturbing, very painful, as well as is very destructive for our physical health as well. It's very harmful, not only creating so much pain in ourselves, but then also we create environment, uncomfortable, uneasy environment and atmosphere around people around yourself when we are in that state. So it's not only uncomfortable for yourself, it makes other people uncomfortable. Not only you are uneasy, but it makes other people uneasy. So this is how destructive. So by reflecting, contemplating, and then being aware when you are in that state of anger, and just watching it and try to understand with your own experience how painful it is, how harmful it is, how destructive it is, not just through just reason and logic, but with your own experience. And that will be the best way of understanding that emotion better. And then once better way of understanding, deeper way of understanding, profound way of understanding how harmful, how destructive this emotion is. And so that we come to some kind of strong conclusion, strong determination, not to give up ourselves to anger, but trying to overcome it as much as possible with whatever means that we might have to overcome it. So that by overcoming the anger, then we can develop this inner quality of, incredible quality of patience, as well as love, compassion towards oneself and towards all other sentient beings. So then again, anger is the one of the obstacles, interference, obscuration for us from cultivating, to be able to cultivate patience, love, and compassion. And so therefore, we try to reduce that as much as possible, and we try to increase the positive states of mind, which are more healthy, more beneficial, more helpful to oneself and others. I think we were in verse number 6. Hence enemy, the internal enemy, anger, creates suffering such as this, which has mentioned all before. But whoever assiduously overcome it find happiness now and hereafter. So with that understanding how destructive those anger is, and who try very hard to overcome that anger, and who try to develop sense of patience, such person is able to find happiness in this life or future lives. From happiness to happiness, going from immediate happiness to long-term, more deeper, more profound happiness. Immediately, when you are more patient, when you are less disturbed, when you are less upset, when you are less anger, and when you have more sense of patience, immediately it gives you some peace in your mind. Immediately it gives you some kind of calmness in your mind, in your life. It gives you more sense of stability in your life when we have that patience instead of anger. Not only it gives you such a peace, calmness in your mind, in your life, because of that calmness, peacefulness, you have better health, physical health. You have definitely better physical health. It makes you more happy. Maybe you lose less hair. So you have to be very careful. I lost without. So what it means? Okay. your hair doesn't become so white so quickly. You doesn't have too much wrinkles. But it's true. The more anger, the more on the contradictory of that, opposite of that, instead of patience, when you have more anger and hatred, definitely it doesn't, as we mentioned before, it doesn't give you any peace in your life, at least at that moment, in your mind. We see people around us, we see with our own experience how we feel when we are in these two different states of mind. State of mind when you are in patience and state of mind when you are in anger. It's totally different experience. On one side there is so much peace, calmness, mentally, emotionally and physically. On other, there is so much tightness, uptight, physically and emotionally. So these are the disadvantage of anger and the advantage of the patience. The benefit of patience, the helpful of the patience, and the destructive of the anger. The two opposing inner qualities or inner forces. And so therefore of course, because we are so accustomed and familiar due to so much imprint from our countless life, countless time, anger arises from time to time when certain situations, certain cause and condition come together for us. And that is okay for us at the moment. When it comes, just recognize that, be aware of that, but try not to act it, and not to fuel the anger more. I already have that anger, but I don't need to fuel it, intensify that anger anymore. I know anger has come because certain condition, I recognize that, and I just try to let it go as quick as possible, as soon as possible. And gradually we learn, as we get better with our practice, then slowly, we don't even allow the anger to arise. As we get better and better, we don't even create the internal cause and condition for anger to arise. So again, that takes time, effort, and practice to reach to that state. So we shouldn't be too harsh on yourself at the moment because you want to see in that stage. Do you get it? Totally free of anger. And then you see, I still have anger and I'm bad Buddhist. I'm the worst Buddhist. I'm the worst practitioner. All kind of things. We know that we can reach that state, but also we have to be realistic and understand it requires time, effort, persistence to reach that, and it goes step by step. The first thing is when we get angry, recognize that, be aware of that, and try not to intensify it, not to increase it. If we do that, we have made a big progress. And also try not to act the anger. And then try to let it go as soon as possible, as quick as possible. by using different perspective, different outlook, different reason, logics, and from whatever practice method that you might use it. Certain different method might work for different people. Then the verse number 7. Have you found its fuel of mental unhappiness in the privations of what I wish for, and in doing what I do not want? Hatred increases and then destroys me. So, in order to stop the anger or hatred, we have to stop the cause and condition which lead to anger and hatred. Why do we get anger and hatred? So if we can stop the cause and one of the cause and condition which lead to anger, then of course we don't need to get angry and hatred. So in here, one of the reasons why we get angry is because we feel that we're angry with someone because we feel that someone is harming us directly, ourselves or our dear ones, near ones. Either they have harmed us in the past, or whether they are harming us, or whether they will harm us in the future. There is that. The fear of being harmed, the fear of that that you will feel unhappy, sad, or you feel that someone might create obstacles or prevent from us achieving our happiness, whether it's ourselves or our dear one, close one, near ones. So, and due to that, then we get sad and fear. And due to that kind of unhappiness, fear, then anger arises. So what fuels our anger is, here it says, our own unhappiness, sadness, and fear as well. That is like the food, a fuel which will intensify anger and hatred, and then anger increases, intensify, becomes stronger and stronger, and then it destroys oneself and others. But if we have less fear, and if we have more joyful state of mind, instead of our mind being uncalmness, disturbed and sad, and that you feel your anger less. Check it out. It is more easy for us to get anger and frustration and so forth when we are physically, emotionally unhappy, unhealthy. When physically we are not healthy, we easily become grumpy, we easily become frustrated. It is easy to anger to arises with small things. Same thing when emotionally, mentally, when you are disturbed, when you are not peaceful state, not calm, when there is something bothering us, something worrying us, we have anxiety, we have been worrying about something, a lot of things kind of in our mind, a lot of things going which is bothering us. And so therefore we are very uncalm, unhappy, not peaceful, basically very unhappiness and sad. And when that happens, small external things can make us very easily disturbed, upset and angry. Small things can make us very. Whereas when you are much more calm, peaceful, happy, joyful, those small circumstances doesn't make you so easily upset and angry. Isn't that our experience? I think that is our experience. Definitely that is our experience. So therefore, what fuels the anger is the feeling of that unpleasant, uncalmness, unhealthy, physically, emotionally. If we can keep our mental state healthy, then there is less fuel for the anger to intensify, arises, increases. So that is what he's saying. What make our anger? First of all, the anger to arises, and then to intensify and to increase. It fueled by our feeling of our unhealthy state of mind. The mental state of unhappiness. Yeah. Then the verse number 8. Therefore, I should totally eradicate the fuel of this enemy, for this enemy has no other functions than that of causing harm. So with that kind of understanding or realizations, then we should try to put all effort as much as we can to decrease, reduce, and gradually eradicate or eliminate the fuel of this enemy, the feeling of unhappiness, the feeling of sadness, this unhealthy state of mind. Because the more we are in that sadness, unhappy, unpleasant state of mind, the more likely we will get anger and frustration and so forth. So therefore, this internal enemy, which the anger, as well as the cause of that anger, the unhappiness, the sadness, has no other function than that of causing me harm. Understanding that. With external enemy, someone with a conflict, they have different functions. Of course, sometimes maybe they might be thinking of trying to harm us, trying to get over us or our family and so forth. This is possible. They might thinking of different way how they can get to you. But at the same time, they have so many other things, their functions. Taking care of their own families. Trying to survive themselves. 24 hours, they have so many other different functions. They are occupied. If they do think of harming us, maybe a few seconds, few minutes, let's say even maybe hours, they give hours, few hours. But maybe not the whole 24 hours they think about that all the time. And they do that because they have other many functioning, other things to do. Whereas this anger, which is fueled by that mental state of unhappiness and that, and the unhappiness itself has no other function to make us miserable and to harm us, to disturb us. It has no other functions. The moment the fuel, the mental state of unhappiness, it arises, it disturbs us. It takes away our happiness, joy. That's all it does. Nothing else. And also the anger, which is fueled by that mental state, is the same thing. By nature itself, that is what it has. The functioning of making the persons who have cultivated that feeling, of that emotions, sad, miserable, pain, unhappy, more and more unhappy. So with that understanding, then we try to destroy as much as possible the fuel, the unhappy state of mind itself, and the result of that fuel, the anger itself. Both of that, the result and the cause, both of them harm us so badly, destroy us so badly. With that, we try to reduce, decrease, and minimize and destroy totally as much as possible, as quick as possible. So, so that is what it means by that verse. And then verse number 9, whatever befall me, I should not disturb my mental joy. For having been made unhappy, I shall not accomplish what I wish, and my virtue will decline. So because of that, one way of keeping away the anger from arising or increasing, intensifying, is by keeping our mind in a much more calm, peacefulness, happy state. No matter what befall on us, circumstances, external circumstances, all the time we try to keep our mind positive, hopeful, optimistic, and happy as much as possible. The more we are able to remain hopeful, positive, happy, joyful, the less anger arises. Even if it does arise, it doesn't increase and intensify so much. So therefore, we try to keep ourselves mentally positive and healthy and happy all the time as much as we can. By being so unhappy by certain circumstances, it does not solve the problems or fulfill your wishes or accomplish your wishes. By being sad, if it helps the things to change, then I guess maybe there is a reason to be sad and unhappy. But by being unhappy, it doesn't solve the problems. It doesn't solve the problems. I'm unhappy because of my allergy. Will that help me to reduce the allergy by being unhappy and sad and all this? It doesn't help. It probably makes it worse. Okay? So there's no reason to be unhappy. Having allergy physically, that itself is painful, but being unhappy may increase the pain. Now emotionally you are making it more painful. Physically you already started having pain, which you can't have much control. Of course you can try to take different medication, try to see what works, but whatever that is it. But by being unhappy with that and constantly being worrying and thinking and all these things, then it increases the pain. Now on top of the physical pain, you have mental pain, mental suffering. It increases the pain, suffering. It doesn't solve the problems. You are unhappy because you suffer and you want to get rid of that. But being by unhappy, it doesn't get rid of that suffering, that pain. It actually increases. So there is no reason to be unhappy, sad from that. And then it declines your virtues. Because again, as it mentioned that when you are more unhappy, the chances of anger increases more. And if you already have some anger, it intensifies more by being so unhappy with that situations. And also we know, when you are unhappy and when our mind is not so positive, because of that unhappiness, our mind becomes much more negative. When you are much more negative, it's easy to create unskillful actions, unwholesome actions, and it's very difficult to engage in any healthy, positive actions. More difficult. Check it out. We try to be more positive, more healthy, more compassionate, more helpful, usually when we are in when our mind is more calm, peaceful, joyful, happiness. When our mind is not happy, it's hard to engage in good things, positive things. Sometimes it's even hard just to function ourselves when our mind is so unhappy. Forget about trying to be helpful and kind and reaching and trying to help others. Sometimes we cannot even function just to cook and survive yourself because you are so unhappy, so depressed that you just feel like you close yourself and doesn't want to do anything. What you want to do is just lay down there, think about that whole thing. You don't even feel like doing anything. So therefore, definitely it declines our virtues, our goodness, our positive things. So with that understanding, we have to remind ourselves all the time. We have to remind ourselves all the time, despite whatever external situation, I have to keep my mind positive, happy and healthy. And try to do as much as possible. We have to remind that again and again. And we do have the ability to remain calm, peace, happy despite external challenges. We do have that potential. We do have that ability. One, understanding, knowing that I do not have to be mentally so disturbed, so miserable, so unhappy despite all these circumstances, external circumstances. I do have the potentials to be happy, to remain peaceful, to remain calm, remain happy, mentally, emotionally. And then remind ourselves it is unhealthy to be sad. So with that, so that's what here is saying. Then verse number 10. Why be unhappy about something if that can be remedied? And what is the use of being unhappy about something if it cannot be remedied? And again, I think this is one of the verses His Holiness Dalai Lama very often use it, and His Holiness, I think, applied these verses in his own life very all the time, and that this is one of the things he encouraged and shared, and that all the time. And again, here Shantideva is saying, when we are unhappy with something, let's say we become very unhappy and sad because we lost someone who is very close in our life, our dear ones, or because ourselves or someone who is very close to us have some kind of sickness, ill, or because ourselves or someone in our life who is close to us are having some relationship problem or financial problems or emotional problems, that they are in state of depressions or in state of very unhappy, miserable in their lives. So by seeing all these situations, of course, normally we get then we become very sad, very unhappy and miserable ourselves. To see that happening either in your life or either in the life of someone who is close and dear to you. So again, by being, if you go to the first verse with this situation, the previous verse, by you being yourself miserable, so sad, so unhappy with that situation, will it help the situations? It doesn't help the situations to improve. Now not only someone is miserable, now you are becoming miserable. So it increases. When we both are miserable, now they are miserable, they increase, they see me miserable. Do you get it? Instead of helping them, now you increase their pain, their suffering, their unhappiness. They are already experiencing some pain of some sort of pain in their life because of those different challenges. And now yourself is so unhappy and so sad and so miserable because of that. They can see, they can feel it. And then that increases their pain, their worries, their anxiety even more. Instead of being able to solve and help, it increases the pain there. And then of course, you yourself become more painful, more miserable. And then that could increase, again, you're unable to function properly, as I mentioned before. And secondly is, with this verse, trying to contemplate and think, which I'm so unhappy about these situations. Is there a solution to that problem or not? That is the thing, contemplating, reflecting. Is there a solution to this problem? from this situation? Can this situation be improved or not? Can this problem be solved or not? If you feel that this problem can be solved, that this situation can be improved, that there is something to be done, remedy there, then instead of worrying and feeling unhappy, you must immediately try to put effort to fix it. Try to solve the problem. Try to fix the problems. Try to improve the situations. Get into it, into the actions. Put the effort to make things change, to make things improve. A lot of the time, we just think, worry, unhappy, sad, but doesn't do anything, doesn't take any actions. A lot of time we do that. And if there is no solutions, if you find after investigating and think something that you cannot do much, there is no solution to the problems, maybe it's too late, it cannot be fixed, it's too late, it cannot be improved, it is too late, something like that, then we try to, instead of getting so worried, anxiety, unhappy, we try to accept it with a lot of courage. Try to accept it as it is, with big heart. With a big heart, with a huge courage, we try to accept as it is. And try to accept and move, try to adjust to the new situations and move with that, instead of waiting and we have to learn how to adjust to the new situation time to time. It's impermanent by nature. Everything changes from time to time. Despite we don't want certain things not to change. Despite we want certain things to remain same all the time. But the nature of phenomena is that it changes time to time. And when those changes, we have to learn how to adjust to the new situation, new change. Those who are able to adjust, they are the one who is able to be more happy, more surviving. Isn't there one, what was his name, Charles Darwin? Yeah, who came with the evolution. He said that, I saw where he said that those species who survive are not the biggest, the strongest ones. Those species who are able to adjust to the new circumstances, situation are the ones who survive, not those who are the strongest ones. And similarly to same with us. When things change, sometimes we have to learn how to accept graciously, with openness, with a big heart, with a lot of courage, and adjust and learn how to live with that. If we can do that, then our life becomes again much more peaceful, much more calm. If we cannot adjust to that, then there is always struggles. Struggles. Physically, externally, things are changing and moving. And my mind cannot accept it and cannot adjust to that. And so there is so much struggles, there's so much pain. So I think we will have a short break. Yeah. So again, when you are when we face challenges, difficulties, problems in our life and in the life of others who are close to us, something not correct, not right. As we mentioned, we try to improve it, we try to fix it, we try to solve it as much as we can. But despite trying our best, there are certain things maybe we might not be able to improve more or fix it anymore. When it comes to that kind of state, where you have tried everything and now it's a situation where it doesn't seem that it can be fixed or things solved or things better, then if we are able to accept it, it becomes much more less painful. It becomes much more kind of relief to some extent. It's like before you might be feeling you are taking all the burdens and you have been carrying all this burden, which is very huge load. The moment you just let it go and accept it, that load is taken away. You feel much more light, much more relief. And because when you feel much light and relief, then your mind is much more happy, less complaint. So, and that one way of thinking is by thinking from the concept of karma. When it comes to certain, like that situation, then we say, oh, I try all my best, my immediate cause and condition to change, to improve everything, but can't do it. So the internal cause and condition is not there karmically too. So by accepting this as a form of karmically and then let it go can be very helpful. Can be very helpful. And for the Tibetans, a lot of Tibetans, I think that has been a lot of help for them. Despite all the challenges they faced, difficulties that they faced, things which they cannot change. What happened in 1959 cannot be changed. But if you cannot let it go, that acceptance is much more painful and burdens, and it could lead to a lot of anger, hatred, and as it often happens. But for them, they were able to let it go with understanding the concept of karma, and that gave them much more peace, calmness in their life. I think if we compare most of the refugees in the world with the Tibetan refugees, you can say on average level, most of Tibetans doesn't have so much anger and hatred and all this in that. They are much more happy, much more calm, peace in their life. Whereas a lot of in other refugees, there is so much anger, hatred, frustrations for the people who have done that. And they are not happy, constantly so unhappy. One of the reasons why they were able to come to this state, if you compare, they are in much more better state, is because of that, to be able to accept that. Of course, it is not easy to accept that sometimes for us. But if we can do that, it will make much difference. Much difference. And it is even said like His Holiness Dalai Lama was sharing some of the stories, like some of the Tibetans who have been in prisons for more than 20 years and tortured very badly. And some of them expressed that during those 20 years in their prison, it was the most, they found it was the most time or where they were able to grow spiritually. And they found so helpful in that way. That they were able to spiritually, that they were able to do a lot of spiritual practice. And spiritually progress and growth. And so they felt good about being in prison for 20 years. It's a very different experience. They feel good about it because they felt during those 20 years they found the conditions to really practice. It really forced them to practice. The external conditions was very hard, but it forced them to practice the Dharma. And because it forced them to practice Dharma, they really took on that, they really practiced it, and they begin to really appreciate those 20 years being in prison and outside of that. Because that is where they really learn much, where they really grow, where they're really able to practice. So again, what it shows is we do have the ability, despite all the external challenges, that if we do practice it properly, we do have ability to enjoy even those circumstances. If you started enjoying it, you are more happy, less unhappy. Less unhappy means less anger, less hatred, and less frustration and so forth. So, with knowing, that in certain situations, circumstances, even the Buddha were alive, he wouldn't change, he wouldn't be able to change the circumstances. Accepting and knowing that. Sometimes when karma is so strong, immediate cause conditions very difficult to change, not easy to change. If karma is not so strong, we can change by changing the immediate cause and circumstances. But sometimes the karma is so strong, or sometimes the karma is already happened, then it is very difficult to change. So when it comes to that kind of situation, it is much more better to accept it. That helps us in our, it makes, as I said before, it makes our life much more lighter. If we look at the history, someone like Shariputra, Mongoliana, who are arhat, who achieve highest level, even at the end of their life, they face a lot of some physical pains due to their previous karma. Even someone like Nagarjuna or Aryadeva, some of the Indian greatest scholar, master, bodhisattvas, highly realized. Due to their previous karma, Aryadeva has to give his one eye. Nagarjuna passed away by his head being cut because of something. So, or because of his previous karma things. So if those are the cases, of course, for us ordinary beings, definitely sometimes we will have to face those consequences of karma, and we shouldn't think that we are exceptions. Then that they should be able to accept, and that they will experience the karmic consequences and not us. even those who have a very high realization, still they are still under the mechanism of the karma. Definitely we will be. And so therefore, with that kind of understanding, then we say, okay, I've tried my best. I've tried my best, but through immediate cause and condition, but I couldn't change it, so that must be my karma, and just accept it. Can be huge difference, make huge difference. We are not saying that you don't try to change, improve it. But sometimes we come to conclude, sometimes we know that even despite trying everything, that yeah. So we have to remember, even Buddha himself faced a lot of challenges. He was challenged philosophically, or the pre-Buddhists were challenging him all the time for his new philosophy, new way of life, new spiritual path. Not only that, they were, because of they were losing their support to the Buddha and his disciples, and because they were, some of them were envy or jealous, and of course fear of losing your support that you used to get support from and now all this support is going to another new spiritual or new followers, and they challenge Buddha with many different things. Physically, he was accused of so many different things. There were so much allegations in him. They tried to defame him, all kinds of things. Oh, so many challenges Buddha faced. If the Buddha faced challenges, what could we expect ourselves? Not to have all these challenges, difficulties, problems. It's just unrealistic. If we see in modern time, someone like His Holiness Dalai Lama, he also faced a lot of challenges. All the time. From Chinese government officials, from non-Chinese government officials, different individuals, different organizations. If they face such challenges externally, what should we expect ourselves? Yes?
Do some holy beings even pray for more suffering so they have more to practice with? Or no?
Yes, I mean some of the highly realized practitioners, they do pray for all the suffering of all sentient beings to come on themselves, ripen on themselves, and they pray and they practice to give all their goodness, virtues, everything that they have to others, and may all the suffering and pain of others ripen on themselves, may they experience on that. They do that. So again, I think it's through training that you begin to learn. You have incredible confidence, courage to do that. And when you do that, then again your perspective totally changes, your experience changes as it will come. So external challenges will always come. We will always face external challenges. But how can we deal with those external challenges is the key. That is the key. How are we able to deal with those challenges? We'll decide, or whether we have more happy life or unhappy life will be more of how we relate, how we deal with such challenges. external challenges more than anything else. Hmm? So if we have the what we call mind training, lojong practices, I think it's very important. And so this is one of the, from here Shantideva, this verses is practice of lojong, mind training. Mhm. When you are faced with such pain, suffering, difficulties, another way of this that I must have created a lot of negative karma in the past, and there must be still a lot of negative karma to be purified. So by me going through this situation, challenge now, may I be able to purify the rest of the negative karma. May I be able to purify the rest of the karma. So thereby you try to see this as something positive, a way to purify the rest of your karma. So therefore you feel it's something as positive, something useful. The moment you have this perspective that is something useful, helpful, then you don't feel so unhappy about that. You don't feel so unhappy about that. You are able to accept it in much more calmness. And if you are strong enough, on top of that, by me experiencing this whatever problem, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or whatever other problem that we might be experiencing, by me experiencing it, that may all other sentient beings never have to experience it. May I experience on the behalf of others, so that they don't have to experience that. So then you transform this situation into something positive, to develop some sense of understanding, care, compassion for others. That by me experiencing it, they don't have to experience it. And then if you can do on top of that, if you can actually emotionally, mentally strong enough to take on others' pain and suffering, not only I'm experienced, then may all other sufferings, pains, difficulty immediately be experienced by me. May they all come on myself. May I experience it. If one can do that, then it gives you so much confidence and courage. Of course, someone needs incredible courage and confidence in that, to be able to do that. But when one is able to do that, there's so much confidence and courage instead of. So then you are not afraid or fear of facing such situations. You are delighted to encounter that. Do you get it? It's like, let's say I have a friend, parent, or children where you truly love and care, and they are experiencing some pain, and you truly want to experience yourself so they can be relieved of that. Do you get it? So when you have that strong feeling, when it really happens, that their sufferings, actually you are able to take it and they don't have to experience it, the joy of being able to do that. Now instead of being so unhappy, there is happiness that you are experiencing on behalf of him, that he is not experiencing it. So when you have that joy, then of course you have no complaint about these situations, circumstances. You are no more unhappy about these situations, circumstances, but you are actually happy and joyful. So So if we can transform in that way, it will be incredibly powerful in changing our perspective, our feelings, um, our experience with such different situations, circumstances. Mm. Again, it's not going to be so easy. You just have to. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Okay, and I'm not trying to give you a kind of false, unrealistic hope in that. But it is possible, absolutely possible. A lot of people have done that. Yes, please.
Yes, you pretty much convinced me I'm a fairly miserable person. And that the idea of having a big heart, this is a really great idea. And that I should accept where I am right now. Okay, I'll say I accept that. But that really doesn't change anything. Something beyond that needs to happen. And a lot of what we say here is kind of like, I'm reminded of the saying, painted cakes don't satisfy the appetite. You had mentioned a meditation technique. Are you going to teach us any of these things that'll actually help us to bring about what you're talking about?
Oh, these are the meditation techniques which Shantideva is going through. These are the meditation technique. Is analytical meditations. Is always using your analysis, contemplations. If I am unhappy, will it help me to solve the problems? If it doesn't solve the problem, why am I being so unhappy? So you use. Normally we don't just use. We just feel unhappy and that's it. We just feel it. We just stay in that unhappy state instead of contemplating and trying to change it. So if you started to contemplate the way he explained here, thinking, is it helping me or not? Why am I so unhappy? If I stay in that unhappy state, will it make things better? So once you think and we are able to reflect, contemplate more and more you are convinced that it is not helping, then you try to get out of that unhappy state as soon as possible, as quick as possible. You will try in whatever means that you have to get out of that. So this is the meditation. This is these are the technique, contemplation. Another way he just mentioned, these verses, when we have that, when we are so weary, anxiety, and fearful, and unhappy with something, think, is there a solution to it or not? If there is, you try to contemplate, think. If you feel there is a solution to fix, then why am I so worried and anxiety? Instead of that being worried, anxiety, and unhappy, I should start to move forward and to make things happen. And if I feel there is no, then I learn how to accept it through the concept of karma and other things. So these are, again, I think a lot of problem for us is that you hear this, you have heard it many times, you know by heart maybe. Sometimes you even know before the teacher is going to say, oh, he's going to say that, and next he's going to say that and that. So you have all this knowledge in that, but we don't on every day, we don't really contemplate on those issues. You just come here class, you just hear it, you go back home, and that's it. Or you read certain pages at home, and that is it. But do you really use what you have heard or what you have read everyday basis, implementing, trying to think those, contemplate again and again? If you do that, definitely there will be transformations. Definitely there will be transformations. But if you don't do that, if you are just acquiring just a knowledge, then it's not going to change. It's not going to change. It's not going to have transformations. Definitely. you have more knowledge, no doubt about you know much more of a lot of things, but definitely it won't have a really transformations. So it means not only you hear that, but when you are faced with such circumstances, then you use this and try to reflect and contemplate on that. And so that is the meditations. Yes.
I think what we should keep in mind is that as we go through this particular sutra, I guess, that we tie it into everything else that we learn too, and that, like with the Heart Sutra opening, that shows us the ways to think, to analyze, that we can use everything in the Heart Sutra to help us with this patience and anger issue.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there is no doubt, yeah, all these teachings are related, interconnected each others. Definitely that we can practice letting go of anger and patience from many different angles, from emptiness angles, which is in the Heart Sutra, but also this is another way of, as I said, that there are so many different, so all of these different way of contemplating, different way of analyzing, different way of thinking are all meditations, contemplative, analytical meditations. So yeah, so we shouldn't be thinking that there is a different meditation than this. Of course, there can be if we talk about mindfulness meditations, through that there is another way of dealing with those different emotions, and this is another way of dealing with it. So there are many different techniques, methods, and so here we are trying to contemplative or analytical meditation. So these are the meditation itself. Yeah, maybe if I give you one example. For example, the one I talk about, when you have your own suffering, instead, on top of that, you are kind of taking other suffering on top of that, what we call Tonglen practice, or taking and giving. And certain practitioners, when they have trained themselves that practice again and again, when they reach to a state where when they are faced with certain challenges, instantly they have these feelings. If I may share, there was a story of one of the Lama Kuncho, who passed away 2002, I guess. He spent maybe 25 years in retreat in a remote area, and of course he studied in Sera at the very beginning. One time in Kopan, maybe I might have shared this story, I don't know before. While he was walking on the stair, I think it was in summer, and it was wet, and he didn't, so he slept, fell, and kind of banged him back. And immediately he felt kind of very happy and joy, and that might sound quite strange. and he felt at that point, I think at that point there was some some obstacle for Lama Zopa Rinpoche's long life and his health. So there was some issue going on that. And so I think he was very much doing some practice Tonglen with that, definitely. And then when he fell at that moment, immediately what he felt was that he was able to take Lama Zopa's all the obstacles, health or long life obstacles. So because of that, he felt so good that him falling, it was immediate reaction. The moment he fell, he felt that he was taking Lama Zopa's obstacles on him. That is why it happened like that. So, did he really take Lama Soba's obstacle? That is something totally different issue. It is something I can't say. Can he really take it? Did he really take it? That is totally different area. But when he felt it, instead of pain and unhappy and complaining for here and there, he felt so happy, relieved that he felt, because he felt he was taking Lama Soba's obstacles. So that is how it happens on those practitioners who have practiced over the time, years, again and again, those meditation practice. So when they do face certain difficult situation, immediate reaction is something like that, kind of something positive, something joyfulness instead of our negative feelings. Yes?
Well, I was thinking before actually that you said it was a different area, how karma is assigned. I mean, how does karma like stick to one entity, and then how can somebody actually remove that karma from that entity? How does karma follow, and how does an entity get differentiated within the pool of whatever pool it's in?
I think it is a big
Question.
big portions, and I think it requires a lot when you talk about karma, individual karma, collective karma, karma between two individuals, karma between 5 individuals, karma between. So within the collective karma, there are vast number of different collective karma, and so it depends on so many cause conditions. How much one individual can interfere with someone's karma, how much cannot. It is not one simple question or not one simple answer. There is a lot of complexity in that. Individually, with each actions, with each result, and with each karmic, it is very individual. Because everything is so individual, so in that sense. So, and again, whether someone can text someone's like that, again, it's not as simple. I don't think there is one answer. In certain situation, it can be relieved to some extent, depending on many cause condition. In some cases, it might not be able to do much of that. So again, I think there is so that is why I was saying this is totally different areas. Whether he did take it or whether he was able to take it, it is a totally different area. But the point is that he felt that way. He didn't feel so angry and unhappy and complain and all these things. He felt good because he felt he was, by following him, he did something positive. So that was the key. That was the point. Yeah. I guess maybe yeah. Maybe we can maybe yeah. So I think it will come later as well. It will come later as well. Also, when we are faced with such situations or circumstances, we try to understand how painful it is with our own experience, and we try to relate with others who are going through similar situation or even worse, and try to develop sense of love and compassion towards them, knowing that there are so many other people, so many other sentient beings who are going through the same pain or even worse than me. So when you are able to do that because of your own pain, and difficulties, you are able to expand yourself to others, extend to others. So therefore you begin to feel it is something useful. It helps you to grow, expand, and increase your love and compassions. So therefore, because you see that next time when you experience similar situation, you don't see as something bad, useless. You begin to see something as source of happiness, a source of growth, source of strength, and source of spiritual development. So when you are able to see that it is a source of spiritual development, positive, then again you are not afraid of facing that situations. You have less fear of facing that situations. And so you have less fear, afraid of that means you have less worry, anxiety. When you have fear of facing something which you don't want, then you always have worry and anxiety that you might face that situations. But when you feel it is something positive, instead of unwanted, you see it is something wanted, or more of neutral, or even not so wanted, neutral, then there is less fear of encountering such situations. If you don't have fear of encountering such situation, of course there is less worry and less anxiety. Less worry, less anxiety, less unhappiness means less anger, less hatred, less frustrations. Less of that means more peace, more calm, more joy, more happiness in your life. So it is changing about your perspective about the situations. At the moment, our perspective is very bad. Such situations, very bad, very much unwanted, very much not useful, useless, and so forth. So there is a strong resistance and aversion to such situations. So because of strong resistance and aversion to such situation, when you do face that situation, then there's much more pain, much more miserable, and much more suffering. Less aversions, less resistance means when you do face it, there's less miserableness, less struggle, less pain. So that is whole. So the meditation here is contemplating and changing your perspective about the situations. Once you are able to change your perspective of the situations, when you are able to see the situations differently, from different angle, then your experience with that situation changes. When your experience with that situation changes, then of course your feeling and your life changes with that. So I think that is the. I think it is good that Glenn, you brought up that question, because I think a lot of people probably is thinking, where are the meditations? We have been waiting for all the meditations. the cure, the antidote. There is nothing meditation in this book that we have studied so far. So I think it did to remind this is the meditations. Of course, we didn't stay in meditation, being silently and being reflecting, contemplating here, but that is at your house, at your room, or your everyday life. You try to bring those and reflect, contemplate, and that is meditation. Through that reflection, contemplation, you get a different perspective, different ideas, and once you get that different idea, that different perspective, then that transforms your experience, your feeling with the situations, and so that is so yeah. So before we do the dedication prayers, let us take a few moments. Due to all the positive karma that we have created, oneself and others have created, may there be peace, harmony, happiness in the life of all sentient beings in the world. May each and every sentient being be able to actualize and fully develop true love, compassion, wisdom, understanding, emptiness as quick as possible. Those who have already actualized not diminish but increase more and more. May all sentient beings who are not feeling well, may they recover from the sickness as quick as possible. Have a long, healthy life. May all sentient beings who have passed away, wherever they are now, may there be peace, may they have precious human rebirth, meet the Dharma, and actualize the Dharma within their lifetime, and achieve fully enlightened state. May all sentient beings who have different obstacles in their life, whatever those obstacles are, may they immediately cease, be pacified. And may their all wishes be fulfilled according to the Dharma. May all the gurus, such as His Holiness Kapil Lama Subhadra, all the gurus, holy beings, have long, healthy life. All their wishes be fulfilled according to their wishes. Due to Tirtha Mary, which empty from its own side, may I, which empty from its own side, achieve fully enlightened state as quick as possible, which empty from its own side, for the benefit of all sentient beings which empty from its own side. Okay.
Okay, please go to page 100 and we'll do the short mandala offering and the request for the Lama to remain long. We'll do the second prayer in English, the first in Tibetan. Sajifuki Shukshing Metok Tramviram Lingshi Nidegyan Padi Sangye May my Venerable Lama's life be firm, his white divine actions spread in the 10 directions. May the torch of the teachings of Losang always remain, dispelling the darkness of all beings in the 3 realms. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niyatayami. Go forward to page 235. We'll do the first 2 prayers there in the Tibetan. Sa Samcho Rinpoche, Nage Panam Ke Gyurchi, Ke Wanyam Pa Me Payam, Gong Me Gong Du And forward to page 244, we'll do the two prayers there for His Holiness and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. As we're reciting these, we can think of all of our other lamas and creating the causes for us to continue to benefit from these perfect spiritual guides in all our lifetimes. Gangri Rawe Korwe Shinkam Dir Endam Dewa Malu Jungwe Ne Shenme Zilwan Tenzin Yatso Yi Shabe Site Bardu Tengyurchi. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers, honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. And the personal dedication list. Do you want to recite those, really? Doesn't matter, whatever works.
For obstacles, the Los Alamos Community Church, Martin Naud, Kim Kerr, Judith, Armand, Lisa, Jessica, Heather, Mark, Amanda, Catherine, Charlene, my family, Patrick, Asa, Loretta, Dahlia, Ian, Wendy, David, and Juan, Israel, Jessica, Wendy, Paul, Dorothy, Glenn, Cheryl, Dave, Lucille, Janice, Alan Martin, Nancy, Melanie, Chris, Alexia, Matthew, Christopher, Tina, Owen, Ryan, Mariana, Steve, Emmy Rose, Elena, AJ and N, Richard, Mary, Suzanne, Jenny, Emily, Frederick, Chris K, Amanda G, John, Leck, Dee Dee, Grace, Madeline, Romy, Patricia, Jeremiah, Maria, David, Carl, Lila, Faith, Laura, Will, Gary, Tom F., Isaac, Jay, Nancy, Carmelita. Those who've had illness, suffering illness or physical difficulties. Carl Wheeler, Aiko Fisher, Gavin Pendleton, Dee Dee, Sarah Harlan, Lisa Cook, Tony Reese, Albert, Margaret Mary, Cora, David, Carolyn, Glenn, Sonia, Lynn, Janice's Eyes, Tess, Annie K, Christian Saia, Nova Cynthia, Dave and Laura, Itty Bitty the Cat, Thich Nhat Hanh, Patrick, Barbara, Bobby, Tama, Tommy, Asa, Loretta, Cello, Israel, Brendan, Connor, Kristen, Elena, Joe, Nan, Arlene, Rudy, Geshela, Cecilia Albert, Nikolai, Lyndon Renike, Stephen Zarowski, Kim, Stephanie, Joshua the dog, Greg, Eric, Amanda G, Rob, Linda, Sally, Armand S, Christian S, Christopher R, Alan Martin, Marie, Stephanie, Sunny the cat. Those who have passed, may they have good rebirths. Margaret Evelyn, Barclay, Kelly Brady, Abby the cat, Jenny, Bill Jr., Bill Jennings, Victor, Bobby, Isabel Maria, Uncle John, Keith, Sandy Shook. and those suffering from physical, mental, and emotional trauma.
So may these and all beings we're holding in our hearts be free from suffering. May all beings find true peace and happiness. Okay, thank you. So we'll have just a few announcements and then the drawing. So if you'd like to hang around for